Tony Fadell, the inventor of the iPod and Nest, believes that we need to wake up each day and ask the question, how can I experience the world better? Well, I don't know about you, but when I wake up, the first questions that come to mind are more like, is the coffee made? Who's taking out the dogs? And can I get to the gym and still be on time for work? Unlike Tony, my first thoughts are not in relation to the world. They are thoughts about my needs and the needs of those that are closest to me. Clearly, as an inventor, Tony thinks out of the box. His life reflects his thinking. But for most of us, our lives and thoughts reflect a somewhat ordinary existence. Our days are comprised of routines and responsibilities, and sandwiched in between is the occasional surprise, occasional excitement, or something unexpected arrives. Well, the church's liturgical year is a reflection of our lives. Christmas and Easter time fill only a few of the months of the year, with the majority of our days dedicated to what the church calls ordinary time. Ordinary time is the time in between these major holidays. It is the time when worship and music and events are expected to be somewhat routine. It is the time when Christians reflect on the life rather than the birth and death of Christ. Well, as human beings, confined by our ordinary existences, we can become restless, bored, and even cynical. Stuck in the rut of routine, we begin to take for granted the people and situations we encounter daily, and start to yearn for excitement for days past. We wonder why our marriages, our children, our job, our church does not hold the same excitement for us as it did when we were new. At these moments when tedium prevails, we may need to shake things up. Well, as an inventor, Tony Fadell's job is to envision everyday objects in new and exciting ways. Tony designed the Nest. The Nest is a thermostat that learns what temperature you like and when you like it, then uses that data to more effectively and efficiently meet your needs. In seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary, the Nest serves us, and because of it, it saves energy and in turn serves the world. Well, faith invites us to look at our world and one another and see the astonishing, the miraculous, the extraordinary, not sandwiched in the exception, but rather reflected in our daily existence. At times, however, we are truly challenged. Stuck in the mundane, we struggle to see God, and we begin to lose hope. Fadell suggests there are 3 ways to shake up the rut of routine, so we might see the world better. First, he says, we must look broader, meaning a limited view can prevent us from imagining what may be possible. We need to engage with those that are different than us. Play musical chairs and consider changing your seat in worship or on the bus. Read something that is contrary to your views without judgment. Approach a conversation with someone you love, not assuming that you know what you're believed. When we live in close proximity to others, we tend to lose perspective. Our vision can become clouded by past hurts and mistakes. When this occurs, when we no longer hear or learn from those that are closest to us, we need to take a step back and get a broader view. Taking a broader view allows mercy and compassion to seep into our hearts and then into the world. It allows us to be amazed, once again, by those we love. Secondly, Fadell says, look closer. Focus on the small details, because details make a difference, and they so often can be overlooked. Seemingly ordinary moments may in fact be moments of grace and answers to prayers. If we expect thunder and lightning bolts, we may miss hearing the subtle sounds of God's voice in our everyday interactions, or recognize God's messenger at the water cooler or in the line of Publix. Focusing on the small details may aid us in hearing and seeing God. It may change our hearts and provide comfort in the doldrums of our days. Well, lastly, Fidel suggests, think younger. Young people are natural problem solvers, he believes. I would also suggest that young people always see the extraordinary. Their enthusiasm, their energy, their courage is reflected this morning in Gabby and Chance as they shine God's light even into the darkest of times. Think younger. Jesus was 12 when he ran to the temple, and he ran not away from things, but toward God, toward learning, toward hope. As people of faith, we must be willing to change our hearts and our minds if we wish to create and experience a better world. Well, Jesus spent most of his life in seemingly ordinary times. Of the 33 or so years that he lived, three were spent shaking up the world, and 30 were spent in seemingly ordinary ways. As we heard this morning, read by Rob, his ordinary encounters brought wisdom and grace. Those he met in his hometown, his parents, at the temple, influenced his world and his view. They were the foundation upon which his coming ministry would be built. But before Jesus offered grace to you and I, he experienced grace through others. Ordinary days offer us the time needed to foster grace. Every encounter we experience has purpose in God's world. Nothing is meaningless. In seemingly ordinary ways, our lives and the lives of others can be transformed, all by the simple choices we make each day. As human beings, our choices matter. The choice to recycle, to encourage another's dream, to pray for a stranger, to take time, to join a church, to be single or married, to have children or not. Choice matters. Our choice reflects our values, our belief, our hope in God. They create the snapshot of our lives, our community, and our world. Each choice builds on the last, and each choice either leads us closer or farther away from God. In those 30 undocumented years of Jesus' life, when he learned a trade, attended temple, read scripture, interacted in his community, ate with friends and relations, in these seemingly ordinary days, in this seemingly ordinary life, somehow it helped him to grow in wisdom and understanding. And it was only then, at the point at which most of his life had been lived, when God called on him to break his routine, leave his home, his work, his friends, and begin to share what he had learned. Well, we are meant to live extraordinary lives, and we are meant to support others as they do as well. Well, this morning, as you can see, we wanted to shake things up. So we sang a Christmas hymn. Did you just wonder if we had made a big mistake? And we flipped around the bulletin, and we've done other kinds of things to shake things up. I brought you all maracas. Do you all have them, your maracas? Well, I brought the maracas as a reminder that when our lives seem boring, or our relationships are And our relationships are tedious or they seem difficult. When we are struggling in some element of our lives, we may need to shake things up. At such moments, it is tempting for us to blame others for how we feel or what we're experiencing. But I suggest that we focus on shaking our own morale. So as we go into this week, take an example from our new members and shake up your faith. When you do, you may discover new joy, new life, and how extraordinary you are. But none of this may occur in the ways or in the timing that you had imagined. In the simple moments of our lives, in our everyday routines, it is at these moments when the holy transforms the ordinary. So go into the week and shake things up. And as you do, look, listen,